Hello and welcome to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. In this segment, James and I talk about when an opportunity comes your way and you're not sure if you can handle it, what do you do? Hope you enjoy. Hey, James.
Yo, hey, yes.
So, hypothetical situation here. You
Okay.
get offered an opportunity to do something in your creative field that you have never done before. You gather some context, you look at it, it's a bit risky, you're not sure if you can do it to your satisfaction. Do you do it or do you not do it?
You know, I feel deep anxiety already. Just hypothetical. But I say yes.
Say
Yes.
yes.
Yes. I had an experience when I was younger where I was trying to work my way up in construction, and a friend of mine, had worked his way up, and I said, "Why did you say yes when you didn't know how to do it?" He says, "That's the only way you get to move up. If
Wow.
you say no to opportunities, whether you know it or not, you're going to always be where you're going to be. And so
Wow.
you've got to say yes, even if you don't know in that moment how you're going to do it.
That's amazing.
Doesn't mean that I, say yes to like, I'll teach you how to skydive, but nearly every book has that moment of where there's the imposter syndrome and,
Hmm.
all those kinds of things. This is different. Am I going to be able to do this well? And then that's when you have to rely on your process
Oh,
to
yeah.
get it done. But yeah, no, I feel anxiety, but I say yes.
Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that. I guess opportunities are like a door opening, right? And if you don't walk through that door, then you're going to be in that same room your entire life.
Yeah. Well, and if you stumble, they talk about fail fast, but I like to think of it learn fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Figure it out. But how about you? Somebody calls up, says big pressure.
Yeah.
It's outside, maybe a little outside of where your comfort zone is. What are you
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? How
I
do you
say
feel?
yes. I say yes if it's in my field. So if it's like, do you want to walk the catwalk at Victoria's Secret next big show? I'm like, nobody wants to see that. And I
Well,
certainly don't want to do it.
unless you're wearing a bee suit.
Bee suit,
If
yes.
you're wearing a Gifted Underachievers bee suit,
I get,
then
you know what? I'd
I
do
would
that.
I would throttle you if you didn't actually. That's marketing at the wazoo.
I do it. I do it. But is if it's in my field and if I know enough to, you know what? Forget all the ifs. I would have to, since it's hypothetical, I would have to just say yes, because I would know how to find out. And also, if you get asked to do something, there is an asker, and the
Mhm.
asker doesn't ask people that they don't think can do it. They ask people they think can do it. Why else would you be asked, you know?
Yeah, well, the anxiety comes, if you prove them wrong.
Yeah, but that's at the end, right? So I'm very much about, I used to take the bus to work across town, and I
Uh,
was almost always a little bit late, which was a terrible idea in that particular job. And I would just think, well, I'm not late yet. I'm on the bus halfway there. Oh, I'm not late yet. They're not going to be having bad thoughts about me yet,
I haven't
So
screwed it up yet.
it's gonna go badly, but and then I was really only a couple times late to that job. I ended up riding my bike because it was faster than taking the bus, but
You adapted.
I adapted. Yeah. The point is that people don't think shitty things about you until you give them a reason to. And so when there's always going to be an opportunity to save yourself, even if you get in over your head. As
Mhm.
long as you're honest, right? As long as you're saying, well, I might need to like bring somebody else in on this part. Um,
Wow.
Stuff like that.
Wow, how cool-headed. So do you ever get a little angsty, when you take a job?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes if it's a genre I haven't worked on much or at all, if it's a high profile person who's asking me to do something, yeah, absolutely. But like you say, I rely on my process. I have a process for the work I do, and it never fails me. And my brain never fails me. I have that kind of mind, so I'm pretty confident in my
Mhm.
ability to analyze the text and say what's working and what isn't working.
All right. All right. So
Yeah,
we're both, firmly on board, never turn down an opportunity.
yeah. I agree. Never turn one down because you don't know what's going to happen. And if you turn them down, I love that your friend in construction said that.
Yeah.
That that that's the only way to do new stuff, to keep going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So never say no, people.
Never say no. Thanks for listening to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. Well, what do you think? Have you ever been offered an opportunity that you took up and then regretted? Let us know. We'd love to hear. Hop on over to our website at giftedunderachievers.substack.com and leave us a comment. Until then, have a great creative week.